I came down with symptoms first. A couple of days after, Mitesh got it, Dad got it, Mum got it, the kids got it. The cough is a big thing. The sound of the cough. The sound of a COVID cough. Once you've heard it, you can't forget it.
We had promised that we would look after him. And we couldn't do that because he was...
I said, I will love you forever. I said, thank you for giving me the honour of being your wife.
And like, we noticed the colour going out of his hands, and we both just looked at each other.
Right. That's when we had to call it.
Rianne was 21 when I met her. We used to go everywhere together, whether it's shopping or holidays or walks. And she was fun, bubbly, very kind, always happy, laughing and smiling. She was my best friend, yes. Rianne was asked to go to work at Cheltenham Races. She said it was just so busy working there. There's like a 10-day incubation period before you start to show signs, which would put her at Cheltenham Races when she started to become unwell. She lived on her own. There was no way I could go inside to see if she was okay. I just had to keep ringing her, taking her food, and messaging her, really. I rang Rianne, and there was no answer. And I just knew. I'm the one that had the keys to the flat, so went over. And I just knew exactly where she would be. I walked past 2 bedrooms. I knew she wouldn't be in bed, and I found her on the settee, dead. I had to wait for the ambulance crew, and then I had to wait for the police to arrive. So yeah, I just stayed with her. I held her hand, and I said, "What happened?" I said, "What happened, Ree?" I was always happy and bubbly, and I think there's a part of me that's gone.
My name's Emma, and I lost my husband Jamie when I was 37 to COVID. He was just 38. It was 4 days before my birthday.
You're sitting like you're human.
He was wonderful. He was so funny, so quick-witted, inappropriate. He'd say, if I crossed the line, I'd say, "You have crossed that line," straight over. But that's what made him the funny man he was. His passion was food. He was a chef. He was a massive Liverpool fan, They were everything to him. If you first met him, you'd think he's the quiet one, but he was taking it all in and sussing you out. He was a very loyal man. A lot of people said to me after he died that he was a really unassuming man. And I didn't know what that was. I'd never heard it before. And I Googled it. And I think it sums him up really well. Yeah, he was a lovely man.
Start splashing.
Yay!
Start splashing.
That was the best jump ever.
Jump. Okay.
And it was things like, at night time when he comes, if he ever got up in the night, I'd always lift the duvet up for him to get back in. And it was a thing I always did. And he always said it warmed his heart that I did that. But it was just what I did. I'd lift the duvet for him to get back in and put it back over him.
So on the count of 3, you've got to blow it and make the same wish. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Got to the car parked, and I got out of the car, and I had this real weird sense of calmness. And I just thought, he's gone. And I've always had a real strong belief you choose who you're with at the end. I've always had that belief. I don't know where it comes from, and I believe he didn't want me to see him go. And as I got running towards the thing, like this white feather, he just landed in front of me. And I looked up at the sky and I said, you've gone. I said, I will love you forever. I said, thank you for giving me the honour of being your wife. I said, because when he proposed, he asked me, would I give him the honour of being his wife? And I said to him, thank you for giving me the honour of being your wife. And I said, I will love you forever. I said, thank you for the life that we've shared.
My name is Roderick Silva. I'm 33 years old. I'm here to talk about the passing of my father, who was a bus driver. It was an honour for him to drive the London buses because he just felt privileged to take people around and do the job properly. I think my father got it when he was driving the buses. So he does a South London route, and I feel every second, every minute, every hour, he's encountering the people, the passengers. So that's why I believe he's got it. He started to feel unwell. It was a cough, temperature, loss of taste, and loss of smell. Then the second week, that's when I noticed he didn't come out of his room. And that's when I started to worry. I noticed when I went into the room, when I spoke to him, it looked like he was running out of breath. 111 called me back to check up on my dad. I went into his room, and that's when I found him unconscious on the bed. So what I tried to do was try to revive him, doing CPR for 20 minutes whilst I was on the phone to call 999 to ask for a paramedic to come along. I torture myself sometimes because I ask the what ifs. You know, what if I called the ambulance earlier? What if, he went to hospital? I said, Dad, can you hold Mateo? This is okay. So he held him for the first time, and I took 2 shots from my phone, not knowing that would be the last time he ever held him. This picture is the meaning of life. This is what I could say to my son one day. I would say to him, look, this is your granddad. This is the only picture that you have of him. You need to cherish that.
My name is Mitesh Patel.
and I've lost my mother, and I'm a pharmacist on the front line. My mother was a really loud personality. Wherever she went, she would make her presence felt. And it's normally through food. She would always like to feed people and make people happy, right?
I think the hardest part of having lost her is the quietness in the house, for sure. And just knowing that someone had your back. You know, that encouragement that she always gave and the freedom that she gave us.
I think she was most proud of how we were frontline workers through COVID. We made sure that we took all the precautions we could.
We booked an Airbnb on the purpose of me and Mitesh would go and live there so that we could separate and have the separation from mum and dad and the kids so that we wouldn't bring back the risk of passing it on to them. But I came down with symptoms first, so I had to isolate, and it was just a snowball effect from there. A couple of days after Mitesh got it, Dad got it, Mum got it, the kids got it.
Mum was very upset at the thought of going into hospital on her own. She was, you know...
I think you could just see the fear in her eyes.
Yeah.
Because she almost kind of... I feel she probably felt that she probably wasn't going to come back. I know I personally felt guilt because I was the first one to get the COVID symptoms. And... you know, you think you've passed it on and caused this.
Even now, we have COVID vaccination clinics. And I feel like a real passion for it.
I think it's mixed emotions of work at the moment with passion for trying to be able to help other families and spare them from the grief that we've gone through in the last year. But also daunting because the risk is still there. We still have Dad at home. I only came into the job on the 17th of March. So I started and COVID kind of took off. So yeah, it was a baptism of fire, really. My name's Sarah Ross and I manage 4 care homes for West Berkshire Council. Out of the 4 care homes, we've had outbreaks in 3 of them. The cough is a big thing, the sound of the cough. Literally you could walk down a corridor and from both sides hear that horrible, rattly, constant cough. And exhaustion, you know, when people cough and they're so exhausted, you could hear all of that, and it's horrible. So all 3 of the homes that got outbreaks were bad, but I would say, for us, the worst of it, which is the recent one. The medical staff said that they thought it was the new variant. It spread like wildfire. That home in particular, we lost 9 residents with coronavirus. I've held the hands of many people that have succumbed to coronavirus, COVID-19, and sat with them while they've been in the last moments of their lives, and it's very traumatic. She was amazing. She was like 4'10", 4'11", and she was the matriarch of the family. This photo that I took of my grandmother, me holding her hand, was taken the first time I visited her when we found out that she was COVID positive. It was very evident that she was not going to make it. I had to FaceTime my mum to say goodbye to my gran. And that is probably one of the worst things I've ever done, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Every time I've gone into work and I've been scared to go to work, I have been scared to go to work at times, I thought, my gran's pushing me on. She's like there behind me, she's like a little angel on my shoulder. I do feel like I'm doing it for her.
My name's Lorraine. I've lost my brother Kevin, who was 58 and had learning disabilities. Kevin was a really, really popular person. The whole town loved Kevin. You know, if we took him out, it took us ages to get up and down the town because he spent all the time speaking to everyone. He knew everybody. And he just liked to be part of the community. Kevin did fundraising for all kinds of things. He did it for the mountain rescue team, he did it for the local hospital, basically anything that wanted fundraising. Kevin just wanted to be there and do it.
Hi Luke, is your old mate Kevin Twig?
They loved shaking hands and having cuddles and things like that, so social distancing would have just been a nightmare for him, really. I was allowed to see him for a couple of days before he died, so I did get to say my goodbyes to him.
I hope you and all the guys and the ladies, sorry ladies.
It was very emotional, difficult seeing him lying there, and you know, he kept saying help me, which was awful. Perhaps didn't realise how proud I was until I lost him and I saw the effect he had on so many people. It was only on his passing that I really realised just how much Kevin meant to everybody else out there as well. If you could have seen the attention he got at his funeral, if he was up there looking down and could have seen the people and the affection they felt for him, he would have absolutely loved it. And they all came out, the mountain rescue and the fire brigade had the sirens going. The haulage company drove through the town, sounding the horns. People from the football team were on the football field, socially distanced, clapping and whistling. And the local post lady walked up and down the town with her barrow with Kevin's photo on the front as well, took him round the town for one last day. So there was lots and lots of noise in Cockermouth on the day of Kevin's funeral. And he always used to say to me, I am famous, you know, I'm famous in Cockermouth. And now he is famous, and he really would have appreciated it. He would have loved it.
I love you all. Ta-ta.
My name is Anne Brown. My father-in-law was John Brown. He sadly passed away on the 5th of December after a hospital admission and contracting COVID in the hospital. I haven't got a dad, so he became the father figure in my life. He was always, you know, helping us with everything. He was just a really supportive and loving dad. My husband found him on the bathroom floor. At that point, it was actually the day of my mother-in-law's funeral. When we got back to the wake, because you could still have a small wake then, he said he was in a lot of pain. So we decided to ring our GP, and she said, ring an ambulance. So that's what we did. We rang an ambulance, and he went off with my husband, his son, into hospital. We'd done our job and kept him safe. And the one place that he should have been safe, he wasn't. We had promised Shirley that we would look after him. And we couldn't do that. He was a good, honest, hard-working man, and he deserved better than what he got. Sorry.
I'm Norman Wellington, Cameron's dad.
I'm Jane Wellington, Cam's mum.
You first.
Cam, he was a fantastic young man. He absolutely loved sports, but he absolutely loved wrestling. He was doing really well in wrestling, and he wanted to make it big, and I think in the end he would have done if he was able to. We sat in the room where he was while he was down the operating theatre, and the nurse come running back into us, and they goes, he's got through it, because it told us not to expect him to make that.
Yeah, we thought it was
we
going
had a little glimmer of hope.
A bit better then, because you'd come through that and it was really risky, wasn't it?
It told us to go back home there. Now
that was the last thing we thought he'd had to go through at the time.
And at 9:15, they found us up and told us we've got to go over there. The doctor took us into the side room. There's absolutely nothing. We tried absolutely everything. There's nothing we can do. He's going to die today. He's going to go today.
It was organ failure, wasn't it? But at least they said you can go and sit with him for a couple of hours, and when you're ready, not like you ever will be, just let us know, like.
And like, we noticed the colour going out of his hands, and we both just looked at each other.
That's when we had to call it.
He passed away on the 19th of November 2020 at 14:50 on the afternoon.
We feel like he's still part of our lives, don't we?
Yeah. He's still mentioned a lot in the house.
Yeah.
We've actually got him at home anyway at the moment, because we've got his ashes on top of the...
on top of the table in the front room.
Yeah, so he did spend Christmas with us in one way. But it's hard letting him go.
Jan was my auntie on my dad's side, so my dad's sister. She was just very caring and always there. She was just somebody that was reliable, dependable, consistent. We called her the glue of the family. She'd been a school teacher for 35 years. She was a SENCO teacher, so Special Educational Needs Coordinator. I know she absolutely loved her job. She loved that school. She loved the pupils. She loved her colleagues. She was very, very aware of how dangerous this virus was. Not at one point did she moan about going to work. It wasn't that she ever didn't want to be there. She enjoyed her job. She was passionate about her job. But never at one point did we ever think that it would be Jan next. She woke up, she felt very concerned about her health. She phoned 999 at around midday. Her oxygen was very low, and they made a note that in the ambulance, even in that very short period of time, her health deteriorated very quickly. And 6:25, that was the last time her heart, beat. So it stopped at 6:25 on Christmas Day. Our Auntie Jan. Nobody can say where she picked up this virus, but what we can say is that if there was lockdown and it happened sooner, she wouldn't have been out and about. Would she still be with us? And I do think the answer is yes.
Sometimes you can be okay, and then minutes later you can be a wreck. You just keep sitting, you on it.
These are loved and cherished members of our family. And they're not a statistic. They meant everything to us.
I've lost my future, and everything about my life has changed. Like, everything is different.
I don't really want to talk about numbers because they're all people to us, and they were all people we cared about. We've lost a lot of lovely, lovely people.